From the CyberHub bunker and studio, you're tuning in to the CyberHub Podcast. And now for your host and CISO, James Azar.
Well, good morning, security gang. Welcome to another exciting episode of the CyberHub Podcast, Wednesday, September 13th, 2023. I'm on the road again. It is just what it is. I didn't get my Red Bull or espresso this morning. Just being completely honest with all y'all. So we'll do our coffee cup cheers. I'll unfortunately be empty-handed. Nonetheless, busy show today, like every day. But we're live on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, Twitter, now X, Twitch, and Rumble. Thank you for everyone tuning in. Please make sure to subscribe. Good morning to all of your awesome good morning comments that we see here every single morning, and everyone tuning in and making the show part of their morning routine. We've got a busy one, so let's get right into it. First, we'll start with our coffee cup cheers. I don't have mine, unfortunately. Again, traveling always throws me off my balance a little bit for the morning show. It does, I won't lie. I miss the studio. I miss my espresso machine. I miss my cups. It's the struggle is real there. So coffee cup cheers, y'all. We'll go ahead and get started this morning with several of our focus stories. The top one being just the amount of organizations that are now patching against these 0 days that are coming to light. It started with Apple on September 7th, so just last week with CVE 2023-41064, which was a buffer overflow in the image I/O component that could be exploited for arbitrary code execution. It was essentially a clickless iMessage that would allow the hacking of a phone, something called BlastPass. That was followed yesterday on the show. We talked about Google Chrome patching their own exploit and patching a critical 0-day vulnerability whose existence was reported by Apple and Citizens Lab. Google tracked the flaw CVE 2023-4863. That issue was resolved. And now we get to Mozilla Firefox. The WebP format is also supported by Mozilla Firefox and the Thunderbird email client, all of which have announced that they're releasing updates that should patch the 0-day. In the case of Firefox and Thunderbird, the vulnerability is a libwebp component, just like the Google Mozilla tracks the 0-day itself. Apple initially released patches, but only the latest version of the iOS and macOS, the one on September 11th. The company rolled out fixes for older versions of other OSs. So there's that, and that's significant. We talked earlier about teams phishing in some campaigns. In fact, I think that was on our Monday show. Well, now we're getting a bit more information after Microsoft is warning that the new phishing campaign is that these attackers are using team messages to lure and infiltrate corporate networks. They're tracking the cluster under the name Storm 0324, which is also known by the monikers TA523 or SAGRID. This really started in July of this year. They were observed distributing payloads using an open source tool to send phishing lures through Microsoft Teams chats. Attack sequences mounted by the actor in the past have employed invoice and payment themed decoy email messages to trick users into downloading SharePoint hosted zip archive files, distributing JSS loader, a malware loader capable of profiling infected machines and loading additional payloads. The access afforded by the malware paves the way for the ransomware as a service actor, Sangria Tempest, to conduct post-exploitation actions and deploying file encrypting malware. They're doing this all through Teams. So this is also coming after Kaspersky has done their little own disclosure of this, as well as the UK National Cybersecurity Center and the National Crime Agency, noting a complex supply chain type of attack. So you do want to keep your eyes and your T's really focused on Microsoft Teams deployed in your environment. You want to make sure it's on the latest version. You also want to probably look at securing some of those links and limiting access to your Teams from external tenants and so forth. I would obviously use some threat intel there as well. CoinEx is confirming that a successful hack stole $30 million in cryptocurrency from the exchange. The global exchange that was founded in 2017 has not responded to comments regarding the specific incident. However, a security incident on CoinEx yesterday released on X said that their risk control systems detected anomalous withdrawals from several hot wallet addresses used to store CoinEx exchange assets. They've identified this $19 million worth of Ethereum, $11.5 million worth of Tron, and $300,000 worth of Polygon coins were all drained from the platform. They're assuring all users that their assets are secured and untouched, and all affected parties will receive 100% compensation for any loss due to this breach. They've found and identified and isolated the wallet addresses linked to the attack and shared those publicly. So there's that happening in crypto, which just seems to continue to add to the challenges of cryptocurrency exchanges when it comes to these types of hacks. I think this is the third one we've talked about in the last 30 days on the show. Now we'll get into some of the Patch Tuesday recap. Yesterday was the second Tuesday of the month, as we all know, the day all people love and hate, Patch Tuesday. With Patch Tuesday yesterday, Microsoft released a pretty small batch of patches, 59 flaws in total, 2 actively exploited zero-day vulnerabilities, 3 security feature bypass vulnerabilities, 24 RCE vulnerabilities, remote code execution for those who don't know, 9 information disclosure vulnerabilities, 3 denial of service vulnerabilities, 5 spoofing vulnerabilities, and 5 Edge Chromium vulnerabilities. The most pressing ones to patch are CVEs 2023, 36802, and 36761. One is the Microsoft Streaming Service Proxy Elevation of Privilege vulnerability. That's an active 0-day. And the other one is the Microsoft Word Information Disclosure vulnerability. Those have all been patched as well. ASUS fixed 3 critical remote code execution in their own routers. Cisco also released security updates for various products. Again, warning of the Cisco asset devices 0-day as well. MSI released a BIOS update to fix unsupported processor errors in Windows, and so did VMware. But then we'll go to SAP, who released their own patch announcement yesterday, fixing 13 new and 5 updated security notes as part of their patch day. 5 of the security notes released this month are rated hot news, the company's highest rating. 3 of them, however, updates to previously released security notes. The most severe of the hot note addresses a critical vulnerability in business objects, if that is something within your tech stack. CVE 2023-40622, a CVSS score of 9.9. It does allow attackers to access information that could be used in other attacks, potentially leading to complete application compromise. CVE 2023-40309, or CVSS of 9.8, impacts multiple SAP products, including NetWeaver, S/4HANA, Web Dispatcher, Content Server, Host Agent, and Extended Application Services. This one is a missing authorization check issue in the common crypto lib. So there's that as well. In SAP, Adobe for their end released and warned of a critical Adobe and Reader 0-day exploited in the wild there. I have a gut feeling this is related to spyware, but, rate me that there's not so many 0-days and coincidences simultaneously that don't happen, because an offensive cybersecurity company developed a tool that is exploiting those. Adobe is aware that CVE 2023-26369 has been exploited in the wild with limited attacks targeting Adobe, Acrobat, and Reader, according to the advisory. The critical security flaw being tracked can let attackers gain code execution after successfully exploiting the out-of-bounds write weakness. There's a whole list of now updated and affected versions of this, and this has been patched. There's also CISA issuing a warning there. In our final story for this morning, a new vulnerability disclosed in GitHub could have exposed thousands of repositories at risk of repojacking attacks, according to new findings. This is coming after the flaw, which could allow an attacker to exploit race conditions within GitHub's repo creation and username renaming operation, according to Elad Rappaport from Checkmarks, said a technical report in a report shared with the team over at the Hacker News. Following responsible disclosure, Microsoft code hosting platform has addressed the issue as of September 1. The protection measure that was added does prevent other users from creating a repository with the same name as a repository with more than 100 clones at the time its user account is renamed. In other words, the combination of the username and repo name is considered retired. This should safeguard from some of these hijackings. So we'll see, but something to keep in mind in your supply chain. That's it for our show this morning. We'll be back tomorrow with a whole lot more to wrap up this very, very busy week. Thank you all for tuning in this morning. Really appreciate it. Can't wait to be back on the horn with all of y'all shortly. Until then, have a great rest of your day. And most importantly, stay cyber safe.
We love feedback, so make sure to connect with us on social media and subscribe to our podcast on your favorite podcast listening platform.